a.m. Eastern. So welcome, Thursday Q&A live. So ask your questions wherever you are. I've got a little tip for you though. If you're in one of our Facebook groups, you can have your name on the screen when you ask a question. And you just have to go to that little URL there, chats.restream.io/FB. chats.restream.io/FB. If you just go there, there's just one click, which gives me permission basically to put your picture on the screen and your name on the screen when you ask a question like I do with everyone else. In Facebook groups, it's a bit different to Facebook pages because we're live on our Facebook page as well as in our Facebook groups. And it's also different to YouTube where I can't get your comments on without you giving me permission. So if you are in Global DJ Network or Student Live and you'd like to see your name down here as I'm about to put the first person's question up there, then you're going to need to click that link to chat.restream.io/FB. Right then, over to you guys and girls. It's question time, and I'm here until we are finished or until 45 minutes is up, whichever comes easier, quicker. So hello to Joe. Hello to Sean as well. Hello to Dr. Karen. First on the chat today, Dr. Karen. So well done. Nice and punctual there. And hello to Martin and Rubik's. I don't know what the dog was doing, DJ Rubik's, but she seems to have settled down now anyway. Hello to DJ 9 Iron. Karen says, I love your on location lives. So that's cool. So, well, we're going to keep trying to do it, depending upon the internet connection and stuff. We're in West Portugal at the moment. We're in a little town called Zambujeira, and it's got hidden beaches and stuff, and the internet's a little bit ropey, but seems to be holding up all right today. And thank you, Papa D. Yes, I am enjoying having some well-earned time away. But questions. And the first question then is from Lisa today, who says, what's more important to make sure of when picking a new mixer? Current operating system or Serato version? What's more important to make sure of when picking, well, I guess a new controller or whatever? The current operating system or the Serato version? Basically, you should keep both up to date as long as Serato say it's okay. So it is only really on Mac that this matters. You know, you never see Serato and Tractor and stuff saying, you know, don't upgrade your Windows to Windows 10.5 or whatever. It just doesn't happen in Windows. It's only in Mac, and there's a very good reason for that. The reason for that is that the audio drivers, the part of your Mac operating system that makes audio happen is called core audio, and it's called core audio because it's built into the core of the operating system. So when they upgrade to a new version of Mac OS, you get a new version of core audio, and then all the audio companies have to scramble to try and make sure that their audio interfaces and their software and so on is compatible with the new version of core audio. Now, that doesn't happen with Windows because with Windows, the audio drivers are third party. There is a Windows version of core audio, if you like, but it's crap. No one uses it. So Windows uses ASIO or ASIO drivers. And so once you've installed the correct drivers for your DJ gear, they won't get overwritten when you upgrade the operating system. And so it's only really Mac that this is important for. And really, the key thing is keep your operating system up to date, but only when your software providers say so. So when Serato say, yep, you can go away, fly, say, no, Serato didn't say that. When Serato say, yep, you're good to go with whatever the current OS is, you can upgrade to it. Or do what I do, which is only get the current one when the new one is announced, because generally they've stopped working on the current one then. And so you know you're getting the most stable version of it. So really the most important thing is to keep your software up to date, have the most up-to-date version of, say, Serato. That was your question here, Lisa. And the OS, yes, make sure it's reasonably up to date, but don't rush to update it if you've got a Mac. Thank you for the question. So DJ Roadrunner says, I have got issues with Serato. Lots of Serato questions already today. The left deck's not moving around at all. I've got a green circle, but it's not moving unless I press play in Serato. It's probably because you have your, so this is DVS, right? What happens with DVS, and those of you that don't understand what DVS is, it's where you use special vinyl on your turntables, which via the mixer or an audio interface talks to Serato or to Tractor or to Rekordbox and lets you DJ with MP3s in your music software or with music files. And so you're really using your traditional turntables, but you're actually using vinyls, so you get the best of both worlds. And the problem that Roadrunner is having is that the left deck is not moving around at all. You've got the green circle, but it's not moving until you hit play in Serato. So the green circle when you are calibrating these systems, you go into DVS and it gives you a little like a scope. And as long as that's kind of round and looks kind of like the same on both sides, it means that the signal is being received properly by the software from the timecode vinyl. The vinyl's got like computer code on it. So that's all good. I think what you've probably got going on there is that you're in internal mode. So there are three modes for DVS. There's internal, relative, and absolute. Internal is where your DVS is turned off. And this is a useful mode to have if there's a problem with your record decks and you're trying to DJ in this way and they're skipping or whatever. You can turn it off and you can control from the laptop. And I suspect that's what you've got yours set to. The other two are relative and absolute, and either of those will give you control from your time code from your DVS. So I think if you just look at by the deck, there'll be a little drop down. It will have INT for internal selected. If you select that to whatever the other one's set to, probably relative REL, it should work. And unless I kind of misread your question, that's my educated best guess as to what the issue is here. I'm going to tell you a story now, actually, people, about educated best guesses and about trusting yourself and about not thinking you can't do things. And this is nothing to do with DJing, but it's something we've had to deal with this week. So we're away. And those of you that are just joining us, this is Thursday Q&A Live with Phil. And there's the caption to prove it. It's just that we're not in the studio for the next 8. We've done 2 of them. So the next 6 after this. We're on tour. We're out and about. We're spending the summer in the great outdoors. And so we're in a camper van, which I'm kind of sat just outside now. And the camper van has got some solar panels on it. And the solar panels are charging the main battery, or rather the main leisure battery that charges your fridge and all that kind of thing. And the battery was getting lower and lower and lower. And in the end, the battery died. And we didn't have the ability to put the roof up or down. The fridge didn't work. The lights didn't work. And we couldn't get into the control panel for the van because it thought the battery was flat. And I knew it wasn't flat because these solar panels are pumping out some current. And I knew that battery wasn't flat, but the computer in the system thought it was. And we took it to a garage and they had it for a couple of days and it came back and they said it's probably okay. We've updated the software. Same thing happened again. So I did some digging and I figured out exactly what was wrong. And it was all to do with the computer getting confused because the solar panels are charging the battery and the computer doesn't know and all that stuff. But by thinking very hard, making a few notes, talking to people on forums, and figuring it out, given it took 6 days of thinking and 30 seconds to mend this thing. All I had to do was unplug the computer on the battery that tells the main computer how charged the battery is and plug it in again. A bit like rebooting. Bang, everything works again. But I wasn't ready to do that 30-second fix until a couple of hours before I did it. It took me 6 days of thinking about it, and it took a garage 2 days of not even knowing what they were doing. So my point here is that you're doing the right thing by using these Q&As and asking each other in the Global DJ Network, in the Facebook group, to figure stuff out. Don't feel it's beyond you and don't feel that there's, you've got to send it back to the shop if your controller's not working or whatever. Spend some time thinking about stuff, because most things technical in DJing and because basically the problem I just solved was an electrical problem. It is solvable with a bit of thought and a bit of digging around and finding people who might have some educated guesses and clues. So don't get upset, especially with digital DJing where there's a few moving parts. It's not like record decks and mixers where there's literally 2 record decks and a mixer, and once you know where the 3 wires go, there's not much else to it. It can be quite complicated using digital systems, software, firmware upgrades, operating systems upgrades, configuring the software to do what you want. And as soon as you start customizing things, which I encourage you to do, you're kind of on your own and you kind of got to figure this stuff out. So I'm very good at figuring stuff out in DJing, but I forgot for a little while back there that I can do it elsewhere in my life as well. And I threw the problem at a garage and they took my van off me for 2 days. We had to stay in an Airbnb and I got it back the same. And all I needed to do really was think it through myself. So do feel empowered to do stuff yourself. I've learned it again myself today, or rather this week. Right, so off on a bit of a tangent there, but hopefully that does make you feel like if things are going slightly wrong with your DJ gear, you'll be prepared to give it a bit of a go. Remember, as I say, forums are great. Global DJ Network, if you're not a member of it, go to Facebook and search Global DJ Network and click join and we'll let you in. It's 10,000 DJs just like you. We help each other. I find a lot of answers to questions that I'm stuck on by asking that awesome community, so come and join us. Right, loads of you say hello. Dennis says, looks like you're camping, Phil. Yep, we are. We're camper vanning, as I was just saying. Disco Worm says the beard looks good, Phil. Well, thank you for that. I think Steve gets really annoyed at body hair. I'll leave it at that. So I think I'm going to just try and grow it as big as I can while I'm away from the studio, and I haven't got Steve poking at me all the time saying have a shave. So I might come back looking like a guy with a very big beard. So there we go. So someone said, I'm not sure if it's said before, but the stream doesn't show up on my Digital DJ Tips YouTube channel on my end. Well, two things you can do. Make sure you've clicked subscribe and click the bell to make the stream show up. Then you'll get an email with a click link to come when we go live. And just refresh the page. It will show up in the end on YouTube. And I know that because I've got lots of people here asking questions from YouTube as well, including you. Marie just says, nice of you. It's beautiful here. We took my daughter to a deserted beach that you had to walk to get to. You couldn't drive to it yesterday, or was it the day before, called Amalia's Beach, which is lovely because that's her name. And it was lovely. So we're in a really, really beautiful part of the world here. Oh, there we go. My bad, it's working. So there we go. And the reason that we can't see your name, Facebook user, is that you haven't done this. If you're on our Facebook groups, Global DJ Network, or on our Student Hub, just go to chat.restream.io, scribble it down now and do it for next time if you want, or do it on another tab if you're on laptop, /FB, chat.restream.io/FB, and then your face and your name will appear when I put your comments on the screen as I'm doing with other people. You only have to do that in a Facebook group, not on our Facebook page. So our next live question is from Martin. Martin says, I've got a couple of songs in Serato that don't have a beat grid. I've found how to edit them, but I can't seem to match the recommended BPM. Right. Here's the thing with beat gridding. Once you are having to do it yourself, don't worry too much about the BPM. Worry more about getting those beat grids right. So for those of you that have never beat gridded and don't know what we're talking about, it's in your DJ software where you see a grid of lines that should line up with the beats of your song and the bars of your song. And it allows sync to work, and it allows effects that rely on that, such as echo and so on, to work. So it's good to have beat gridding, not essential because you can manually beat mix and so on, but it is good to have that. But if it's not working and you don't have a BPM, it hasn't worked it out properly, then you have to go and do it yourself. So what you want to do is find the first main beat of the song, put a grid marker down, then 4 beats on, the beginning of the next bar, put another one, 4 beats on, put another one, and then just start looking through the song. And only when the beats are starting to drift away from those one beats should you put new ones in. And keep an eye on the BPM that Serato or Traktor or Rekordbox is calculating. And that BPM will be very near to a round number. So it might, after you've done 4 or 5 of those, it might be on 125.67 or something, or more likely 125.97. So that's telling you that the song is probably recorded at 126 BPM. So then try changing the BPM to 126. It won't mess up all the ones you've already put on, because you said they're definitely right, but it'll drop a 126 grid over the rest of the track. And then that might just be perfect. You might be able to flick through and not have any more corrections to do. So you don't have to worry too much about the BPM if you're correcting yourself. But if you get the BPM right, maybe you don't have to do the beat grid corrections yourself, if that makes sense. Thank you for the question there. Hello to Pedja, who says, where can I ask the question? Well, you're on YouTube, so ask the question in the chat on the right-hand side of the YouTube window, or at the bottom if you're on mobile. So the next one is from DJ Wardlow Entertainment, who says, I downloaded the newest driver for my MCX 8000, which is a Denon DJ controller, but I'm still getting freezing on my screens, but it plays the audio still and my Serato runs smooth. Any suggestions? Well, make sure that you've got the latest version of Serato. Make sure you've got the latest allowed version of the operating system as well. Make sure the latency in Serato is set high enough. Now, latency is that little slider that you can drag in the settings, and I think it's on a page on its own. I'm not sure. It might just be on a page called audio, but it's on a page pretty much by itself. And at the bottom of the slider is a low number, and at the top of the slider is a high number. Slide it 1 notch towards the higher number and see if that solves your problem. What normally is happening when your DJ software freezes is that it is unable to cope. The computer's unable to cope with what you're asking it to do. And that's normally because you're asking it to do everything too fast, because your latency is set too low. Latency is another word that describes the difference in milliseconds between when you do something and when it comes out the speakers. Obviously, you want that as small as possible because it feels most natural, but not to the point where your computer starts to suffer. And if your visuals are starting to suffer, if the screen is freezing, it's very likely because the computer is prioritizing the audio because you don't want the music to stop, whatever. But the core, well, rather the effect of that is that you're finding that the software freezes, and the answer is to increase the latency. So see if that helps you on that one. Hello to Mixmaster G, who is also in a lovely sunny place. It is summery and sunny here in Western Portugal, but the Atlantic Ocean is about a quarter of a mile that way. And the Atlantic Ocean is cold. And I know because we had a dipping our feet in it the other day. And the wind coming off that ocean is also cold. So when the wind drops, you're like, this is beautiful. When the wind picks up, I don't know if it's because I've lived in the Mediterranean all my life and it's a little bit warmer there than the Atlantic coast, but well, all my life, the last 15 years. But I've got jumpers on and stuff. I'm like, hang on, it's July. Why am I wearing a jumper? So a bit of an adaptation to the weather differences from me here. But anyway, glad it's sunny over there in your neck of the woods, Mixmaster G. So this is from Pedja, who's managed to ask that question. Well done. Do you think it's good to buy an MC7000 in 2021? It's a Denon DJ controller. It works with Serato. Absolutely, Pedja. It's going to carry on working for years with Serato. It's a great controller. You probably get one at a good price. Definitely worth buying in 2021. Controllers really aren't changing too much nowadays. So apparently, and unfortunately, if this turns out to be the case, Mixmaster G says that the MCX8000 issue is a hardware issue that can only be repaired by Denon. Definitely try what I said first, because you never know, but it does sound like there might be an issue there that involves hardware repairs. So thanks for piping in there, Mixmaster G. So the next live question, and by the way, wherever you're watching us on Twitch, on our YouTube channel, and on Facebook, our groups and pages, do ask questions and I will try and get to you, but the later you leave it, the less likely I will be able to get to you. We never get through them all, and I'm only here till about quarter to the hour today. If you don't get them answered this time, come back next time and ask them early, or go to Global DJ Network and ask them in there, and the community will all help you in there. And again, go to Facebook, type Global DJ Network into the search bar and join the group that comes up at the top of that search. That's our By DJs for DJs group. So anyway, the next question is from Steve, who says, hi, Phil. I'm practicing BPM changes using sync in a beat mix. What's the practical limit to how big a BPM change you can get away with using this particular method? As big as you want. The thing with sync is if you're going to sync two tracks together, what happens is that you can use one pitch fader to make both tracks change. So they stay locked together, which is brilliant. So for instance, I've mixed from about 130 BPM, fast house, right down to hip hop easily. The trick is not to do it in a way that you're trying to hide it, right? There's no way you can go from 130 to 80 BPM, which is from like fast house to hip hop, without people noticing. So make a show of it. Loop the last 4 beats of the house track in that instance, up to the first 4 beats of the hip hop track, slow it down very smoothly over like 4 bars, and then unloop the hip hop track, and you're off. It's okay to make this stuff obvious, but the best thing to do when you're making big BPM changes or any big bold mixing that people are going to notice is to record your practice sessions. Because if you record your practice sessions and listen back to them the next day, you will hear your DJing how everyone else hears it. And that is a really big thing to realize, because the only person in the world that doesn't hear your DJing the way it really is you, because you're too busy doing it. So record your efforts at really extreme mixes and see what works and what doesn't by listening back afterwards. And once you know that, then you'll be much more bold about doing it in public. So do record your mixes, especially when you're doing that kind of stuff. Okay, so lots of you asking gear questions today. If you've got questions about music or about techniques, I've had a couple of technique questions actually, or playing out or live streaming or getting back after COVID, do ask those and we'll try and get some of those on. But meanwhile, Greg says, what's the best upgrade from the Denon MC6000 Mark II? I need for a smaller DJ box. Well, I won't answer your second part of your question, but I will answer the first part. If you need to get something smaller than the MC6000 Mark II, it's not really going to be an upgrade, because most controllers that are an upgrade, and that's a fine controller, by the way, are going to be bigger than that. And the MC6000 Mark II is not a very big controller. So I'm a bit stumped as to what to recommend to you there, Greg. Now, Greg's on Facebook, and that means that Greg's comment will be underneath the Facebook version of this video. So you could help Greg there if you've got an answer to this question. A small controller that's an upgrade from the MC6000 Mark II. And I can't think of one off the top of my head. Now, a little bit of advice for you here, people. If you do want to get your question answered, but you know I'm probably not going to get to it, ask it on Facebook. Ask it underneath any of our Facebook versions of this stream. And the reason for that is really simple, because when the stream goes off, the questions remain underneath. And then my team, Scott and Lauren and Ben and the rest of my team, and me, if I'm around, if they don't get to it first, can answer you underneath. The trouble with YouTube is, and Twitch, of course, well, YouTube, you get the recording, but you don't get the questions because they're down the chat. With Twitch, it all disappears afterwards. So if you do want your questions to be answered afterwards, little tip, go onto Facebook and ask it there. You are watching Digital DJ Tips. You are watching Thursday Q&A Live with me, Phil. It is not in the studios, you probably guessed. And you also, if you're a regular, probably realize we're not doing Tuesday Tips Live either at the moment. I'm pretty much on a downtime for the next couple of months, but I am here to help you with your DJ questions on Thursday Q&A Live in the same time slot every week. Do let me know whether it's working for you, me being sat in a camping ground with a barking dog who's now gone to sleep, God bless her. Do let me know if it's working for you. I think it's worth still doing, and I certainly don't mind doing it. We'll be back in the studio in September when Tuesday Tips also will return. And if you are new to us and you're enjoying what you're seeing, become our latest member. You get a free copy of our book, Rock the Dance Floor. You also get a weekly newsletter, Tuesday Tips, which will help you to improve as a DJ. So it's all free. Go to digitaldjtips.com/join. Now, I charged my earbuds mainly for the microphone before we went live, and they were on 100%, and they're now on 10%. So I've got to conclude the batteries are shot in these. So they've done well, but what's going to happen in about 5 minutes, I would hope, is that these will die and the microphone will switch to the internal mic. Either that, we'll be in trouble, right? So if that happens, you'll know why. So as soon as they die, I will double check. I'll go to the bottom of the chat, and if anyone says, we can still hear you, Phil, that'd be very useful. Right, back to your questions. This question is from Gerald. Lots of Serato questions today. Can I still go back to using Serato Scratch if I'm already using Catalina? I would say no, Gerald. I don't know why you want to go back to Serato Scratch. I'd be interested to know that, but no, I would say don't try and do that. So Jefferson and more Serato chat. Serato should find a way to work with Apple and probably come up with a Serato Mac for DJs. This would solve all of the Serato issues. It's never going to happen. The market is just too small for Apple to even look at that one, I'm afraid. But thank you for that. DJ Dorian, how to find venues that I can approach in my city for DJing? For now, I'm hunting them on Instagram and email plus message to them, but I can't seem to find too many venues this way. You got to get out there, my friend. You cannot find venues who will book you by going online. You got to get out there. You got to put your you got to fist bump people in this day and age, or elbow bump people, and you've got to get to know people, because people book DJs who they know and like, and you can't get to know someone, and you certainly can't grow to like someone on the internet, or if you can, it's going to take a long time. I'm sure a lot of you feel like you know me to a certain extent, and I do know some of you guys and girls as well, but we've been doing this for several years. So what are you going to do? Email them for several years? Of course you're not. Get out there. Get into the venues, be there when they open, talk to the people there, hand your mixtapes over then, get to know people who are already DJing in the venues, try and help them out. You've got to be involved in your scene if you want your scene to give something back to you. So this is one of those times where online just isn't going to help you. Sure, have mixtapes online, sure, do your bit online, but you're not going to get gigs online. It's just not going to happen. You've got to get out there. So PlayStation says, Phil, what do you think about people having to be vaccinated to get into nightclubs and large events? Well, we're getting into politics here, and this is a DJ training website, so my opinion on that really doesn't matter. What I would say, though, is that if you want to play in venues and they say we're only going to have DJs who are vaccinated, well, then you've got a choice to make, and you don't want to do it. What's more important to you? Are you going to go with your ideals and I'm not taking that vaccine if I disagree with it, or are you going to take it and take the DJ gigs? Because one thing I can tell you is you ain't going to change the world. So some adult decisions are going to have to be made if you find yourself in that position as a DJ. DJ Adrian Hageden, hello Phil. Do you think clubs will ever move away from club standard Pioneer equipment and use Denon? In short, no, I don't think they will. Or at least not in the foreseeable future. But I do think a new generation of DJs are very happy using Denon gear. So Denon can only increase its market share. But will clubs move away from Pioneer? No. What I think will happen is something else will change in the meantime. So it could be that, you know, it becomes normal for DJs to bring their own gear, or so lots of clubs just don't provide anything, or, you know, it probably won't be that. But something else will change, which will move the goalpost again. There isn't going to be a simple switch from Pioneer to Denon, I don't think. Right, we now have dead headphones. So can someone in the comments anywhere please type, Phil, I can still hear you, because that's going to tell me that our microphone has switched over to the one in the iPad, albeit a slightly less good microphone. So I'm waiting for the 25-second pause while this stream goes out live in order for someone to say that, because you're seeing it 25 seconds after I'm saying it. There's latency for you. And there's the first one, someone on our Facebook group, I can hear you. So thank you very much for that. And Jermaine and Martin and Phil, thank you very much. And Adrian and GM, thank you, people. That's cool. Right, okay, so let's get back to the live questions. This is, oh, I love this question, get asked this a lot. This is from Andreas, or sorry, from Andreas. Is it okay to start off by being a bad DJ? When do you make the leap to play in public? I've literally just written an article on how to DJ today that touches on this very thing. So let me talk to you about it. Once you've decided on some DJ gear, and once you've started to gather enough music to play a DJ set, all that's left is the techniques of DJing. In other words, how to actually do it. How to cut out the gaps, keep the level right, the volume right, and hopefully get cleanly from one track to the next. Once you know how to do that, which doesn't take very long to learn, by the way, we're not talking about, 50 tracks in 30 seconds type videos that you see these YouTubers do, stuff like that. People don't want that in the real world, and they certainly don't need that in the real world. They won't expect it. And once you know how to get the music that you know ought to be played and that you love and you're passionate about, and you know your audience is going to like, and you know how to cleanly stop the gaps and keep it at a nice volume and get from one track to another. By the way, I can teach you that in about 5 minutes. If you go to Digital DJ Tips website and go to the book, click the book link and look at the techniques chapter. There's 6 videos in there where I show you the 6 DJ techniques you need, and that's it. Once you can do that, you're not going to improve as a DJ unless you get out there and play. No, you're not a bad DJ at that point. You're an inexperienced DJ with limited skills, but that doesn't mean you're a bad DJ, because DJing is about music and you've already got that right. So the only way you're going to improve as a DJ at that point is by playing out. Now, by playing out, I don't mean a wedding where you could make or break someone's night if you mess it up. And I don't mean playing, a festival, Tomorrowland or something. I mean in front of other people. So playing out could be in front of your partner, could be in front of your kids, could be playing your friend's barbecue where you just do a half-hour DJ set between the Spotify playlists. It could be just doing a bar that your friend runs or that your friend already DJs in, warming up for him or her for half an hour. But until you start playing out, you're not going to improve as a DJ, because you only learn what DJing is about when you're playing in front of other people. DJing is like, I'll give you 2 examples. I'll give you the clean one and the not for kids one. The clean one is, it's like playing ball, right? You want to play football, you better join a football team, because you ain't going to learn with a football in your backyard, because it's a team sport. It's also like having sex, right? What you can do on your own is a bit like sex, but it's not called sex, is it? You need another person there. I told you there'd be a dirty bit. So take whichever one of those resonates most with you. DJing has to be done with other people. And so it's not so much that you have got to wait until you're a good DJ before you play out. You'll never become a good DJ unless you play out. So as soon as you can do those very basic mixes, and as soon as you can stop the music getting really loud and really quiet, in other words, you know how to control levels, and as soon as you can cut out the gaps, get out there. It is exactly what you have to do to improve. Thank you for the question there, Andreas. It's a really, really good one, and I'm glad you made it. So the next question live, it's about me from You Don't Like My Music. I will do Phil's first and we'll come back to that one. So Phil says, looking good in the summer out there. It is indeed. What software would you recommend for auto cue points? I've been using Mixed in Key, but sometimes I have to move them around manually. I would say never do auto cue points. Put them on yourself. No software can do your cue points for you. You Don't Like My Music said, Why did you leave the UK, Phil? Why did you leave England? Well, without boring you and without taking too much of your time for questions, I was a professional DJ from the age of on and off, from the age of 17 to 21, and then professionally, like full time, from 21 to 36. And I did everything I wanted to do DJing, but in the last few years, it just wasn't. I wasn't having it. I didn't really want to produce music. It wasn't me, and I didn't want to step up to the next level because the DJs who I was booking, I was also a nightclub promoter. I didn't like their lifestyles. I didn't like them. I liked the people, but I didn't like what they were doing with their lives. I didn't want to be that. So I had to decide what else to do. So my idea was to um, leave the UK because that's the only way I could get away from clubbing and promoting and DJing. Go somewhere where I couldn't get DJ gigs because I couldn't even speak the language, never mind anything else, and take a year or two to figure out what I wanted to do next. And so my wife, girlfriend at the time, and I left the UK, sold up, went to a city called Malaga in the south of Spain, and just chilled out for a bit. And then I realized I was missing DJing, but I didn't want to do it late at night anymore. I wanted a family and stuff. So I started Digital DJ Tips, started a DJ school, and now I DJ sometimes, live stream sometimes. I've got the family, but I'm not working late. So it kind of all worked out fine. But I left basically to make a clean break from the world I'd been in for 15 years because I knew I'd carry on. It was easy money for me. I had to kind of like make it hard again. So that's why I left England. Thank you very much for the question. It's nice to get questions like that every now and then. The next live question is from Tino, who says, is there any way to boost the Wi-Fi signal on a public network through the Denon Prime Go? Not a personal hotspot, but the internal Go Wi-Fi. No, you're just going to have to get a stronger network for that. The next live question then, I'm scrolling through them now. If you're on Twitch, say hello, because I can't see any Twitch questions here. I don't even know if we're live on Twitch today. This is from Spiridon, who says, trance is my passion. I do like other subgenres, but this is what really drives me. I've been DJing, producing it for years. Thanks for what you do, Phil, with your company. Your book is a gem. Oh, it's not even a question. It's just a statement of trance as your passion. Well, good on you, Spiridon. If you'd like a copy of the book, by the way, you just have to join Digital DJ Tips and we'll give you one. Rock the Dance Floor is the best-selling book on Amazon on how to DJ. Hundreds of 5-star reviews. It's our 5-step process to learning to DJ. Everyone watching this should have a copy. And if you go to digitaldjtips.com/join, we'll give you one for free just for joining us. And joining is free as well. So do come and be our latest member. So lots of you helping Andras out. I'm loving to see this. This is from Tyler, says, as long as you stay in your bedroom, if you go out and play in public and don't know what you're doing, you're not going to be booked again. Word of mouth is a powerful marketing tool. And when people talk about how bad you are, right, so this is the problem if you play out live too early, which is why your first gigs should be family, friends, private parties, stuff where this isn't going to happen to you. You know, as I said, don't start selling your services or playing in venues where they're paying for your services until you feel you're ready to make that little next step. But that's never going to happen if you don't start playing in front of some people first. So I actually agree with you there, Tyler, as well. Show a little bit of caution for sure. John, can you start producing alongside DJing, or is it better to get a high technical level as a DJ first? And where should I start learning to produce? It's a great question. And we always say, if you want to learn to be a DJ producer, then start learning to DJ and start learning to produce straight away. We have courses for both. Our dance music formula production course is a brilliant place to start learning to produce. And our complete DJ course is a brilliant way to start learning to DJ. And we've got many students who bought both. They've bought dance music formula and the complete DJ course at the same time and followed them at the same time to get the results. What you'll find is they feed into each other. Each discipline is overlapped, so they'll help each other. There is really very little purpose in only doing one or the other. If you want to be both, do them both at the same time. Now, at this stage, I'm always really just happy and elated to see you all helping each other out in the comments. So thank you for that. It does make it a little bit harder for me to find the comments because there's no search here. So I can't search for everyone who's hashtag asks their questions, but that's all right. I can continue. Continue scrolling through and finding questions the old-fashioned way. The next one then is from Adrian, who says, "Hi Phil, I'm looking to upgrade my RX2, which is a standalone Pioneer DJ controller, to a DDJ 1000. Is it the XDJ RX2 or the DDJ?" So many Pioneer controllers. Anyway, the important thing is you're looking to upgrade to a DDJ 1000. But I've got a feeling Pioneer will launch a beast version right after I buy it. Well, they've just launched a stupidly expensive custom flashy version of the DDJ 1000. So I guess there's a bit more life left in it yet. I don't think they would do that like when there's a new version imminent. The point is the DDJ 1000 is as close to a classic DJ controller as you're going to get. It is quite rightfully one of the best-selling DJ controllers of all time. Even if they replaced it tomorrow, there are tens of thousands of them out there, and they're going to be used for a decade to come. So really, you know, if you can get over the fact that at some point they're going to replace that controller, buy one now because it's a classic, and you can do everything you could probably ever want to do on a DJ controller for the foreseeable future on the DDJ 1000. It is an instant classic, and I would, if I needed a DJ controller, I'd buy that one tomorrow in a heartbeat. I've got no issues at all with that. So yeah, get it, go buy one. Just don't come to me if they do release one tomorrow, because I promise you I haven't heard about it. So the next one is from Tyler, who's just helping out our friend John, who says you can learn to produce and DJ at the same time. If you want to learn production from digital DJ tips, you could start with layback loops, bootlegs, re-edits, and mashups. Then once you've completed that, you can move on to dance music formula. It's a good point. A lot of people have done that. So it won't teach you to produce, but our layback loop course will teach you to do bootlegs, mashups, and re-edits, which is kind of like getting you ready for learning to produce. And the good thing is it still uses Ableton Live, which is the software that most DJs use to produce on. So you wouldn't have to learn new software for the new course. So this is from Craig, who says, afternoon all. I've just had shoddy COVID customer service. I do hope this ain't going to be the way of things to come, as places will not be getting my custom. So many different processes. I am double jabbed. Look, it's just a brave new world, isn't it, for everyone? On the campsites here in Portugal, they're asking for digital certificates or negative tests. Well, I live in a country that doesn't have a digital certificate. I've got a credit card that shows both my jabs on it. So the letter of the law says we can't go in a restaurant, we can't stay on campsites. You know, you have to throw yourself in and see what happens. My feeling is that people are generally quite accommodating and quite sympathetic, and they want your business, right? So the biggest fear, and I know that this is said a lot, is fear itself. If you're scared to go out there and do stuff because you're not too sure whether your certificates will be accepted or whether they'll let you in places or whether you need this or that, you're never going to do anything. And really getting on the field of play is the important thing. So I don't let any of this stuff scare me too much. I just throw myself out there and trust the stars to align and make things happen for me. It's always been my way, not only with this, but with anything. So do that. I bet the next person you get customer service from will be absolutely fine. So this is from Craig, who says, I hope I'm not too late. No, we're here for another 5 minutes, Craig. How do I find out about the different music and DJs playing in clubs in the towns and cities near me when they aren't open? Do I use social media and websites, or is there a club or bar directory? It's a really good question. There used to be one in the UK. It was the Red Book, I think it was called, or was it a Black Book, run by DJ Mag, but they don't make it anymore, which kind of listed promoters and DJs and stuff. I don't really know how you would do that, other, you know, and who knows who they're going to book when they open again. They might just wipe a clean slate and start from fresh. So Craig is on YouTube. So if you want to help Craig out with an answer to that, do it quickly, because in 5 minutes the YouTube comments will disappear until people replay the video. Yeah, good question, Craig, and I haven't got an immediate answer for you there. So Keegan says, hi Phil. Hello to you, Keegan. I'm interested in scratch DJing, but I'm not sure whether I should go with Rekordbox or Serato. I want to get the DDJ 400 to get a club feel, but I'm not sure if that's a good decision. The Numark Mixtrack Pro Platinum FX seems like a better choice. Any advice? Let's unpack this a bit. To start with, there's no problem scratching on DJ controllers. We have a course called Scratching for controller DJs. Both of those you can scratch on. It's not quite the same as using big platters or jog wheels, but you can scratch fine on both of those controllers that you've chosen there. As you've worked out already, the DDJ 400 is a Rekordbox controller, and the Mixtrack Platinum FX is a Serato controller. Serato is the more popular software among scratch DJs. So if you want to have the software that most scratch DJs use, go with Serato. But certainly as far as, you know, what it sounds like and how easy it is to do, it's the same on both.